What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome back to the show. Today, I've got my buddy Ryan Garcilazo on, and he really has become the expert, the go-to person for rehabbing, whether it's training your teams or really building your rehab business like a business. A lot of us as real estate investors, truthfully, the rehab is an afterthought. I'll just pay somebody to figure that shit out. But the truth is we really, especially coming into this economy that we're going into right now, you need to be buttoned up and act like a professional. That's what we're going to talk about today. Emergency rehabbing, taking advantage of this. Looks like it's going to be a down market to exponentially grow your business. Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from FlipNerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show.
Now's the time, baby. Now's the time.
What's up, Roddy? How are you, buddy?
Nothing but opportunity here. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So interesting timing. When we scheduled you to be on the show here, you know, the proverbial shit had not hit the fan quite yet, but you know, we're in a different situation right now. And for guys like you and me, we talked a little bit ahead of time. Like, we kind of grew up in a down market, a last downturn, and so guys like us have been gearing up for a down market because you know it's going to come, right? And I think for everybody, Trump included, like he's talked about this many years ago in the past.
Yep.
He made his money in down markets. That's when you go shopping. That's when you kind of gear up, because a lot of people that are in our business that are wannabes but don't really treat it seriously,
well, I think
wiped out in these markets.
I think the thing that you and I have been hearing a lot, especially in the last 9-10 days, right, is first off, for you and me and you and I and guys like us, I never realized that we made it through 08, 09, because you don't really have to think about that on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
And then when people start talking about, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm freaking out. I don't have enough cash reserves, all these different things. You start thinking to yourself, oh yeah, wait a minute, I've been there. All of a sudden you start thinking of context of a moment when you were broke, or a moment when you were struggling, or a moment when you had the fear that they're having now. Like, I have anxiety, I'm human, but I'm not fearful, right?
Right.
I have anxiety because it's like, well, we're in an uncertain time. It is what it is. Yeah. But I'm not fearful the way I was fearful in 08, 09. I was terrified back then. Right. But my point is,
or naive because you just didn't know what was happening. Right. But
exactly. Yeah. And now we're prepared. And this is a position to try to encourage others to fight the good fight. But the reality is the market's been hot ever since then. And a lot of people that got in after the fact got fat and heavy, and they lived a good life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now is the time we're going to see if they can jump rope.
Yeah. And we don't know what's going to, it's so early. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but we know there's probably going to be a little bit of an economic downturn here, at least for a while. The truth is, you know, you and I haven't talked about this, but people like us, people that are in our circles, have been talking. We expected a downturn for years. Like, we're kind of like 10 years into.
It's legit, like every 10 years, is it?
Yeah. And we're beyond that. We're beyond that. So it's like, it was due to happen. Nobody anticipated that it was going to happen the way it did, but
the only person that anticipated was Bill Gates.
Well, that's a whole nother story. Depends on how big of a conspiracy theorist you are. Maybe
I don't buy into that stuff. I got no time for that.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is what I love about real estate investing. And this is what I love about entrepreneurship. And I want people that are listening to this right now, watching this, to think about this. You need to get yourself, I unfortunately have money in the stock market, and I don't like being in the stock market, but I've had some cash that we've had invested. So we lost a bunch of money over the past few weeks. Sucks. Right. And I don't understand it, and I can't control it, but I haven't really lost any sleep over it. And I haven't lost any sleep over potential downturn in my business, because I know that once you get to a point to where you're like, you know what, I can't control the economy, but I know whatever happens to me, I can get it all back. And I think that's the sign of an entrepreneur that's been through a couple markets. It's been through some ups and downs, been punched in the face a few times. Is you get to a point to where you're like, you know what, shit's going to happen. Things are going to go bad. It's just going to happen. I can't control everything, but I'm resilient. I'm a problem solver. I will figure it out, whatever happens. Right.
And those are the ones that survive. I mean, if you don't have that mentality, like, it goes back to what I was saying. Do I have anxiety? Yeah, but I'm actually kind of excited. I'm like, I'm like, ooh, because you know what it is? You get a chance of the opportunity, as you said, like an entrepreneur, to go back into the office, go back into the war room and start really focusing on the challenges ahead. And then you start trying to remember, okay, what did I do back then in this situation, if that situation still exists or presents itself?
Yep.
But again, what do we think of, right? Every challenge is an opportunity. And let me tell you, right, I'm the guy that worked with every hedge fund that was thrown at us through that recession, right? You don't think they might be coming back? You don't think that other guys have learned from them too and are going to try and stack up? Of course they are, because there will be, unfortunately, foreclosures. There will be people losing their home. They're talking about this unemployment rate being as high as 30%, which is unbelievable. It's sad, but it's unbelievable. So what do you think happens? Inventory comes back. Prepare for it. I am.
Yep. Yeah, as long as there's people and they need housing, then guys like us are going to be in business, right? I mean,
boom.
The circumstances are going to change, but those things are not going to change.
That's right, brother. As long as there's people that need healthcare, healthcare's got to stay open. As long as there's people, there's got to be housing. Real estate's going to stay open. And point B to that is construction will stay open.
Yeah.
So those are the three pillars, and it's the three pillars of the economy, but they're actually two major pillars of our industry, right? Real estate is a pillar, construction is a pillar, but the other thing that people haven't really realized is investing is another pillar.
Sure.
And throughout the years, what I've seen, and again, you and I were talking off camera about this a little bit, a lot of people are getting that reality check right now that they may know one of the three or two of the three, but not all three of the three.
Right.
So if you're a rehabber, if you're an individual that cash flows, you have turnkey projects, you property manage, at some level, you have to alter the asset. At some level, you got to do something, a rental level rehab, construction, a hotel, something. And if you're not good at it yesterday, you're not good at it today, which means you're not going to be good at it tomorrow. And this is your opportunity to start looking at those and saying, listen, I got to start capitalizing on my weaknesses here and focus, because there is going to be opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's a bunch of, I run the Investor Fuel Mastermind. We've got a lot of really successful investors in there, some people that have been around for a long time. And we run an agency, a lead gen agency. And what I'm advising my clients and people that look to me for advice is, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, but gear up to double, triple your advertising or more lead gen, because the truth is there's so many people that just stop. And this is what happens is when you're prepared for this, when psychologically you're not freaked out about what's happening right now. You're like, I don't know what's happening, but I know that a lot of competition is going to go away.
Oh yeah.
Capital is going to dry up. And so if you've been listening to us for any period of time, we've talked about always having multiple sources of capital to prepare for what's going to happen next. Because in the last downturn, what does that come from? Lessons learned, right? The last downturn, if you had, I've got access to a $5 million line of credit with one bank, and then that bank pulls that line away, then you got zero, right? So
correct.
You're raising private money. We've been talking about this stuff for years and really anticipating this, although we didn't know it happened like this, right? But you kind of knew there's going to be a cycle. There always is.
That's true. Without question.
So let's talk about today. Let's kind of talk to those that are listening right now that are either have been rehabbing a lot, might have a couple active projects going on right now that there's some uncertainty around. So kind of like emergency rehabbing, like a little bit about how to deal with the current situation. By the way, in Dallas, we just looked at some stats yesterday, real-time MLS stats. Like there are like 300 and something listings yesterday, 190 houses went pending. There were a couple hundred houses that sold. I mean, it doesn't feel like title companies are doing remote closings. Like people have it took like a couple of days and people just pivoted and they're like, the economy kept going forward. So it's not dead here, right? But I think some people are freaking out a little bit.
Well, like I was saying, I've been saying this every day since I think the first time the president spoke was maybe like 9 or 10 days when he legit did the primetime speech to America. Right. Which he'd never done before. That caught my attention. Like, oh, okay, there might be something here, right? Yeah. Since then, I think emotions naturally have been high for everybody: investors, consumers, anybody. Your mom, your grandmother, my mom. You know what I mean? Everybody's human. You get that high anxiety, but I think the first full week was last week, right? Where all of a sudden everybody's starting to go quarantined, right? Local municipalities are quarantining, and states are making their decisions, and government and states are doing what they do, right? Whether you agree or disagree is not the point. But you start seeing that rush in emotion and people are getting scared. And I kept telling everybody, I go, wait for the first week to be done. Let people freak out. And then this is the week. I said, as of yesterday, as of this Monday, it's time to hustle again. It's time to get back out there. And like you said, if you're that wholesaler, if you're that investor, pump out your marketing harder than ever, right? Pump that out. Get it all out, man. Put it all on the line. And I'm a true advocate for that. And I kept telling everybody else the same thing on the rehab side. Don't stop. right? There's people out there like us or you or other investors that will help you get through it to
Yeah.
some degree, right? Keep going, keep moving. The economy has to move. Keep it moving. If we can do our part, buy, sell, let's go.
Yep.
But at some level, if they're saying, hey, we are operating in one of those businesses that still can run under a lockdown, quarantine, or stay at home in shelter, then do it, because real estate's not going to shut down. Right? And this is where that virtual technology comes in. Virtual sales calls, virtual walkthroughs, virtual inspections, virtual estimates. I mean, it's happening.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about, for those that are in, and every market's different right now. And the truth is from the time we're recording this to the time it's actually going to go live, it's going to be a couple days anyway. So things are changing on a daily basis here, right? But what do you say? So in my market here, it sounds like it is in Chicago too, in Dallas. They've said that construction is an essential task. So, contractors are still working on things if they can. One of the big fears here is stuff like supplies. So is something going to not show up to Home Depot? Are they going to run out of drywall? Are things going to happen that's going to slow that down? So clearly, I think all the supply chains for groceries and all those things are working hard to make sure that doesn't happen, because that causes a whole nother layer of problems. But let's kind of talk to the person that's in the middle of a project right now, and they're trying to do this stuff remotely. So talk a little bit about your thoughts on how they can keep kind of moving forward. Because, for real estate investors, every day is another day of holding cost, right? So they got to keep things moving forward.
Yep. So there's a couple of things you got to do. First and foremost, and I hope even if you're a mid-level guy, high-level guy, or entry level, doesn't matter. You should know what KPIs are, right? That's what you're going to go back and start looking at, is your KPIs. And those KPIs will look at baselines versus actual. Here's an example. First thing I would do for those of you who have open rehabs anywhere in the country is I'll take your most problematic rehab first. The one that seems to just keep biting you in the ass, that you just can't get your hands around for a million failures, right? And I'm sure all of you are like, yeah, dude, I got like all of them are like that. I get it.
They're all tied for last.
They're like, oh, dude, I got 5 and all 5 are a disaster. And I'm like, I got you. I totally understand. But my point is, take the worst one. Start looking at the KPIs. First thing you want to do is look at the original budget, the budget baseline versus the current baseline. Find out where you're at. Next thing you want to do is evaluate change orders. And you have to do the KPIs on this. You have to track the change orders that you as the investor made decisions on. You want to track the change orders that come from the GC. And if you have a project manager, you want to see the change orders that are coming from your project manager. Because now it's time to analyze this project. Where are these coming from? Then you want to make sure you've approved every change order, and then how much all of those change orders have added up and changed your baseline budget. See, it all ties together, right? Then what you want to do, when you have your baseline budget and you've looked at where you're currently at, which is probably a little bit higher than where you originally started, because it happens, you want to then evaluate how much of that budget has altered time. Okay, now we track the KPIs on the schedule. Time. You take your baseline schedule. Let's say it was a 6-week project. That's what you guys projected. Fine. You start looking at all the time associated with all these change orders. Maybe you've done that. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're a mid-level guy and don't have those capabilities yet. Maybe you're a high-level guy and your guys are doing that for you. Great. Still look at those. You have to review them. It's like having a contract. You send it out for signature, but you never review that it's been signed. You just say, oh, I got it back. It must be signed. Review your paperwork. Review your system and your process all the time, every day, right? If you are, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you want to look at those change orders, because change orders usually 95% of the time will alter the schedule, because it takes time to go redo something or do something that wasn't originally part of your scope of work, which means obviously it adds to the budget and it adds to the schedule. So then go back and track that critical path. Welcome to Project Management 101 College. Here we go. University's in session. You want to go back and track how many change orders we have, how much time it's added to our schedule, and what we have to do to get back the float. The float, my friends, is trying to buy back time per task. I just blew all your minds. This is real. The task in which, for example, your schedule and your scope of work says we got to tile the bathroom floor. Fine. And the master suite. Fine, of course. Then your schedule suggests how many days that might take, right? It says 3 days to tile the bathroom floor, right? Cool. It takes 4. That extra day is called slippage, okay? Now we have to buy the float. How do we get the float? The float is I got to find another task within the project to get a day back, because I can't add a day to my schedule. I can't afford that anymore. That's the mindset you must operate right here, right now, whether it's the coronavirus, or let's take the coronavirus out of this. This is crisis mode. This is when a project is going off the radar for you right now. It's going completely off. You need to start this process over and over and over again, regardless of the reason. You're in crisis mode regardless. Maybe one of your contractors is completely sick, and that could happen right now, actually. One of your contractors and you are battling over money, so there's progress delays. There's a simple science in going back into your schedule and your money by tracking construction KPIs to figure out where you're at, how bad it is, and where you need to go. And I don't want to lose people because there's a lot to this.
No doubt.
But that's the first thing that comes to mind for anybody who's has an open rehab. Look at the budget compared to the current budget. Look at the time compared to the current time. Look at the change orders, add all that up and see how much money is added to your budget and how much of that is added to your time. Then and only then can you make a decision with your GC if you're either going to be able to sell as is, get it to a certain point and then sell as is or rent as is, or maybe even turn an ARV into a new rental, right? You may say, I was going to flip this, but I might have to hold this.
Right.
There's options out there. There truly are options out there. And that's what I'm saying. I just wrote this manual, emergency guide that I'm almost done with, that I'm going to put out for everybody. The reality is there's options, but you have to look at it from a construction standpoint now. If you have a project manager, you and your project manager need to work together, and this is where that project manager shines, right? Because if you hired this project manager, theoretically, you should have come from construction. So theoretically, he should have an idea of what I'm talking about to some level.
For sure.
And at the same time, you get with your GC and discuss this, because now it's daily focus. When you're in crisis mode in any rehab, regardless of Corona, you're in crisis mode. It's a day-to-day action now. What's my day-to-day plan? What are we doing tomorrow to get done for Wednesday? What are we doing Wednesday to get done to Thursday? It's no longer a week-to-week, month-to-month project. You already blew that. That's my point. You couldn't control it that way. You got to control it day-to-day. So when you try to be macro, you didn't know how to even be macro in the first place, right? Now you got to be micro, and you got to learn fast how to be micro, because they're all looking for you for guidance.
Any tips on for those that
that makes sense, or is that too much?
No, it's a lot for sure. It's good information for sure for those that are. By the way, before I was a real estate guy, I was a corporate schlep, and we had project managers managing all sorts of stuff, and Gantt charts, all sorts of projects, right? Lots of different project management softwares. So, and I've led a bunch of projects too in corporate America, and of course, I've rehab hundreds of houses too. I'll say the average investor is probably doesn't have a project manager, and they're doing it themselves, flying by the seat of their pants a little bit, because as you know, that's not a surprise. No. For those that understand what you just said, talk about how to implement with your contractor, because sometimes they're like, hey, I get it. I get slippage. I get that I'm a day or two off here. I need to find it somewhere else. I'm over budget. I need to find it somewhere else. How do you go talk to a contractor? Give some tips for how to go, because I talk to
contractors differently.
Every contractor is different for sure.
Well, no, I talk to them differently because I am by trade a contractor and I don't deal with their shit. So it's different. I know what they're talking about and what they're not talking about. So I don't have patience for that.
But a lot of contractors don't necessarily use the terminology that you've used there. They know, hey, you need to move faster or whatever. But talk about how somebody that's listening to this right now can say, okay, I'm a week off now because of all this other crap that's been going on. Here's what I think they're going to understand how they can go try to make up time by looking at what's left.
So
right?
To answer your question, we go back to kind of my earlier point is go back to looking and isolating the day-to-day then. Yeah. So go back to the schedule, because if it's more of a time of if it's more of an issue of time, right? We're not talking about budget, we're just talking about time. Then the first thing you want to do is go back to the original schedule that you guys agreed to and hopefully signed together. That's a whole other conversation. And you go back to that schedule and say, you know what, we're off track and we need to figure out where we went off track. Now, that's easier said than done because there's a process to this, right? There's a project management process to this. You should be tracking correspondence and communication. You should be communicating and oversight and supervising on the projects weekly, multiple times a week. There should be pictures and videos taken. There should be daily huddles happening. There should be one GC meeting a week. I mean, this is all the things we teach because it happens.
Right.
And most investors, like you said, they don't know that. They don't even know how to do that. So that's what I'm saying is I'm painting a picture to those listening who don't know how to do this and never had to do that. And you realize how important what I'm saying is now, hopefully moving forward. The whole idea, guys, is you want to come out of the quarantine a lot different than you went in, right? This is the time to do that. So what I'm trying to shell shock you with is the reality of what your contractors know that you don't know. And they're not going to sit there and ask you to babysit me when they know you should be babysitting me. Right? That's why I was saying I talk to contractors different because I know exactly what the hell they should be doing, and I don't put up with that shit. And they may or may not like that. I don't care. That's their problem, not mine. Because at the end of the day, I hired them. They didn't hire me. So at the end of the day, I look at it that way. So when you go back, simply, very simply put, go back to the schedule, talk to your GC, have a meeting on site and say, we need to go through this together. I want to figure out where we missed. Was it a delay in material? Was it a delay in a draw? Was it my hard money lender's inspector doesn't know what he's talking about and I don't agree with his 70%, you don't agree with the 70%, but that's all they want to give us is 70%. Now I got to come out of pocket with my own cash flow and now I'm irritated. There's so many variables, brother. That's
No
what
doubt.
I'm saying. And now speaking to those mid-level guys who know exactly what I'm talking about. So those are just a couple pieces of the game. But you want to go back, look at the schedule, figure out where you went wrong, and then figure out a plan day to day. Okay. Listen, I don't want to fight with you. I just want to get this thing done. Here's the idea. Tile took too long. The drywall didn't get here on time. That took too long. We need to create the flow. How do we buy back time? And go through the scope of work and the schedule, and maybe you can reallocate line items. Maybe you can take things away and say, you know what? At this point, we don't even need to do that. We don't need that. Or you sit there and you jump into the conversation or rewrite the contract. That's why there should be an addendum on the end of a contract. It's a whole other class. And you go back to your addendum and say, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to go buy the vanities, all the bathroom fixtures, all the stuff. Even though I know it's in your contract, I'm going to go buy it. We'll rework the numbers later, but not today. I got to get out there so that you can participate. And now is the best time more than ever to do that. Right now in emergency rehabbing, this is the best time for you to look at your contract with your contractor and say, listen, I'm going to the store and buying all the materials right now while I can. I'm going to the store and buying all the money or all the materials with the money that I have while I can. And you and I are going to figure this thing out and we're going to make it right. And we're going to work it out. We're going to restructure the contract. But one of my first bits of advice that I think you asked me earlier when we sat down, Mike, is what can they do? Go to the store and buy your materials if you can afford to do so now, because there will be delays in materials, like you said, from big box, from sources, from warehouses to big box stores and big box stores to projects. That's going to happen. It's probably starting to happen. So while you can afford to do so, buy all the materials, put them in the locker, put them in the garage, put them in your garage. I don't care, but don't put them on the project because you can't afford to have them stolen or ripped off or damaged, right? You got to start thinking about that. And that's part of risk analysis that happens early on in the project when you're looking at production phase of construction. Whole nother class. That's why I was saying, Mike, what do we focus on, man?
Yeah. Well, we only have a half hour. We could have like a 5-part show here, I think. Well, maybe let's spend the rest of our time talking a little bit about, I think there are a bunch of people that are listening to this that are rehabbers. They've been rehabbing for a while. I've been working with this contractor for a while. He's a good guy. They kind of learn how to manage that person based on their personality, right? But I think coming out of this, what we kind of teed it up front is like, hey, come out of this being better and smarter than you were going into it, right? Get ready, like strengthen your muscles for coming into this new market. Maybe take a little bit of time. Let's talk about how to find the right contractor, because there's always this balance between, the one guy, we call him Chuck in a truck, the guy that like does it all, but he's just going from one job at a time.
That must be a Texas thing, man. I'm gonna have to use that up here.
Yeah. I've got 3 levels. I've got I forgot what I call them all. There's the guy in the wrapped Hummer, right? He's the most expensive, and has a lot of layers of management there. But shit's a little more buttoned up. There's the Chuck in a truck guy that doesn't even have a business card. He's just doesn't have enough gas to get home tomorrow, but he's just working day to day. Says yes to everything. Can you lay tile? Yeah. You good at texture? Yeah. Electrician? Yeah. They do it all, right? So that's not don't go there, right?
Chuck in a truck.
And then in the middle, there's the guy that is kind of the owner-operator, managing 3, 4, 5 projects, could hang doors himself if he has to. He's in there doing stuff. Somebody's sick. Well, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and get it done. So there's kind of like this. I've simplified it and put it into these 3 buckets. But anyway, talk a little bit about how to find the right contractor for you, and considering the average person is not full on doing 5, 10 projects at a time. Like maybe talk to the guy that's doing a couple at a time, has 2 or 3 rehabs going at any time.
Sure.
That,
so
isn't happy with who he's working with now, let's say.
So again, let me give some background to answer that, because there is no formula. There is no science to this.
Sure.
People, we can't control each other, right? People need to understand that there is no formula. Anybody says this is how it's done, they're full of shit. There is no formula. The reality of it is, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, you have to learn to a certain level, whether that be a person that came from construction, who's a construction manager per se, a project manager per se, or maybe you were a GC that now runs a big company, like something like we did, right? The idea with that is there has to be some fundamental business mechanisms within them. They have to understand that. They have to understand processes and systems.
Yeah.
In the rehab game, I'm going to make this quick. In the rehab game, you have an A-level contractor who does not rehab. They do consumer-level retail build-outs where they could charge 40% markup. In the rehab game, you have the C-level contractor that can basically work within your margins, but you pay for what you get, which is shit, right? The reality is very simple, right? Before we get into how to find a contractor, remember what you hire, what you pay for is what you get. And if you don't know you're hiring riffraff, you're hiring a 2, 3-man, 4-man crew that's supposed to do 22 trades that exist when you build a new custom home. So if you have a new custom home in the retail world, it takes 22 legit trades to get done, and you have a rehab that's going to cover 22 trades because there's 22 different things to do in the house. Think about that logic. You're trying to get 2, 3, 4 guys to do 22 trades who might be good at 2, great at 1, suck at the rest. What you get, okay? So wake up. Stop actually blaming everybody but yourself. Take the accountability, right? So at that level, to answer your question, what you want to do when you start looking at those kind of contractors is start thinking, am I willing to pay a little bit of a higher margin to get the job done with a little bit more quality precision, right? There's 3 major things in rehabbing that every investor wants: quality, time, and budget. You're not going to get all 3. It's not going to happen, right? So you have to pick each rehab. Which one matters most right now? It could be the ARV, could be the market, could be time, could be weather, could be season, right? Pick which one matters every single time and then go into that with the contractor with that mindset that right now what matters to me is quality. Then you're not going to hire the C. You got to hire the A, right? And you're going to pay for that. But what if that A costs you 33%? And you're like, holy shit, but he gets it done 3 weeks early. You going to complain now? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's
trade-off for sure.
Evaluate it. That's my opinion. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, you get what you pay for, and I think one of the things that I've always advocated too with contractors is, this is what I teach students, coaching students, all that. You should never work with somebody that hasn't been referred to you from somebody else that you know and trust. Because if you go find somebody on Craigslist, and you're going to get what you pay for usually, right?
Yeah, but here's the deal. Let's be frank, man. I've made a ton of referrals to guys who hit home runs for me and hit foul balls for them, right? This is a game like baseball. You're only good as your last home run. And that's the reality of it, because it's very hard to remain consistent in this industry if you don't have a system and a process. And just like an investor, let's take it goes both ways, man. And that's our job. That's what the Rehab Depot does, is show both ways and bridge that gap. It goes both ways. The investor, let's say Mike's got it all figured out. Mike's got Mr. Handbright himself, investor fuel. Boom. He's got it locked down. He's got the system and the process. Every time he meets a contractor, he invites him into his process and system and says, this is how I work. This is how I operate. This is what I expect. All right, let's work. All right. You're doing that contractor a favor by doing that, because now he's got something. He's got leadership, right? He's like, all right, Mike's going to lead me. This is going to work out. Let's take the opposite. What if a contractor came to you and has a system and a process and the investor doesn't, which they do, and the investor doesn't know to ask that? A lot of contractors have their own way of doing things, and it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's illegal. It doesn't mean it's deceitful. It's the fact that investors find out after the fact and they feel like they were lied to. It's like, you didn't ask, dude. And that's what I'm saying is it really does go both ways. A lot of these guys do have a process. A lot of these guys, most contractors make money on material markups. It's a fact. Then they add in a GC fee on top of that. Fact. Okay. So a lot of your guys actually will make the 40% in your rehab budget. It just won't be a flat fee. They might say, okay, I can do the 15% margin. I'm with you on that, but you best believe I'll make my 15% through the job too.
Right.
And again, is that deceitful? No. They know their numbers. You don't. Whose fault is that? Right? That's like you doing a real estate transaction and you buy a property from a seller who has no idea what you're doing. Is that wrong? No. They just don't know how the process works. That's your job if you wish. It's not right or wrong to me. If you want to explain the process, then go for it. If not, it's not. They didn't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you ripped them off.
Right.
You don't know the process. And that's why open dialogue has to happen early on when you meet a contractor. You have to get them engaged in open-ended questions, meaning ask questions that you're going to get some feedback, right?
Yep.
When you do your first pre-walk, first off, go meet contractors on job sites. Okay? Don't invite them to coffee. That's not what they do, right? Don't even take them off a job site, because you wouldn't want somebody taking your guy off your job, would you? Okay, so keep them on a job site. They are more than happy to be interviewed and talked to when they can show you something. They're proud right now. Look at my team. Look at my crew. Look what I'm doing. Ooh, I'm the man, right?
It's good for you to see that too as an investor, right? It's
100%.
good for you to see their work. Yeah.
100%. You can ask them questions all day long. Who owns the property? How many have you done? What's the schedule like? Are you guys on time? What's the budget like? You know, what kind of finishes? Where are you shopping from? How many guys you got here? You can observe if they're clean, if they're dangerous, if they smoke in the house, if they drink in the house, if they're smoking weed in the house. You can observe all these things, right, in 10 minutes. And they're happy because to them, money just walked in. They don't have sales, right? These guys aren't out marketing themselves like they should be. And if they are, it's not very good. They're not capitalized. So you're putting yourself in their world, which they will respect you for.
Yeah.
Establish that dialogue then. When you're ready, you call that individual, you do your pre-walk, whole different class, whole different situation. But during pre-walk, when you have your scope of work in hand and you're walking a project and you've talked about an open floor concept and I want all these can lights and blah, 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 you're asking that contractor, hey, listen, even if you know the answer, engage them. You know, I want to knock this wall down, but I don't know if it's a load-bearing wall. What do you think? Right? Because you're going to get the guys who are like, yeah, been there, done that. Oh, yeah, no problem. Did that last one? Sure, no problem. I can do it. I don't want that guy. I want the guy that says, well, why would you want to do that when we can do this? Because that's going to cost X, but this is going to be a little bit shorter. It's probably going to cost the same, but this could be done in less than a week.
Right.
You know, that's the guy I want. And that's what these guys need to create. You need to create the conversation. Because remember, you're going to be dating this fool for a little bit. You want to make sure you get to know the guy early on, because later's too late.
For sure. Awesome, man. Hey, we're about out of time here, but thanks for sharing with us so far today. I think the key, guys, is we want you to develop a skill set and take yourself to another level, because the truth is the market that's upon us, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. I won't pretend to have a crystal ball and know what's going to happen here. What I do know is going to happen is a lot of people are going to flee the marketplace. A lot of your competitors are going to flee away. You're going to be able to find new contractors because some of them are going to be out of work, right? They're going to be hungry to get back to work. They're going to be eager to find some new customers. And there's a lot of opportunities here for you to improve your business and take it to another level. So
without question.
Yeah. Roddy, good stuff, buddy. Hey, so if you guys are listening right now, Roddy is also one of our experts on this series we're doing 3 times a week. It's called, I give it a really long name. Sometimes I name stuff.
I think I signed up for 5 weeks. I think I'm locked and loaded.
Yeah. So we've got, you can find out about it at flipner.com/America, flipner.com/America. 3 live workshops a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually. And they're live. We stream them online. You can ask questions. We've got different experts coming on every 20 minutes to get some different perspectives.
How we get this done in 20 minutes is beyond me, brother. Cause you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll figure it out, my friend. But really good information, a lot of experts. And
Sure.
you can come check out Roddy again. It's going to be joining us over the next several weeks. So that's at flipner.com/America. Roddy, if folks want to learn more about you, I know you put a lot of training out there. You've got a lot of information. You were having a lot of physical training events, and now you're moving some of that online just to adjust with the market.
Sure.
Folks go to learn more about all the stuff you've got going on.
Go to the rehabdepot.com. That's our website. If you want to learn more about our services, they're going to be on the Roddy Services page. We have physical boot camps all across the country, but we also, most of them are home based in Chicago. And for the time being, they're going to be all online. We have one coming up the 23rd, all online for 6 hours. Be sure to log in and join us for that. It's all rehab project management. You can catch me on Instagram at Legendary Flipper. On Twitter, I'm at Legendary Roddy. And then obviously on Facebook, brother, I'm everywhere, man. And YouTube. I'm always trying to put out content for the industry.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll share all those links in our show notes here for you that are listening. By the way, guys, stay safe out there. Don't get too scared here. Look, there's a lot of uncertainties. We know that. Keep safe. Keep your family safe. Use this as an opportunity to be learning a better skill set, preparing yourself for what's next. What is that, dude? We're on video.
Dude, I made this. 2 rubber bands, stapler, and a paper towel, and you have a legit mask.
Okay.
Stop freaking out, guys, and just get to it.
Yeah. So don't want to put any fear into you guys. There's a lot of uncertainty. The truth is uncertainty is a breeding ground for opportunity as well. So make
100%.
sure you're ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming aboard, and take advantage of the opportunity of all the time you're probably saving right now, not commuting, going to kids' sports, maybe not even going to work. Don't piss that away on Netflix. Make sure you're
learn, evolve, read, watch, ask.
absolutely. So everybody, if you haven't already subscribed to the Flip Nerd Show, we've been doing this for 6.5 years, literally. We have over 1,500 shows on flipnerd.com. So you can learn more at flipnerd.com. You can subscribe to us on wherever you're watching us or listening to us right now. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, anywhere. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you did. Give us a positive review if you got some value today. Till then, see you on the next show. Take care.
Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required, as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com, and it's a community to safely ask your questions, a great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.